some kind of Mike or Mick or Mikey or something. Yeah. He rings up, yeah, mate. I go, yeah. Yes, where are you? I go, in the city. Who's this? He goes, no, I know who it is. He goes, and then he goes like this. He goes, oh, you think you're Afghan, mate? So sick. I said, who? Brother, tell me who. Anyway, then he went on and on about it. It's on my phone. Anyway, I said, oh, yeah. So anyway, where are you? Oh, so I went to Auburn just to see who it is. I just want to go see who it is. Maybe he's got a hot sister or something, you know? Texting, nah, we're at Uguna KFC now. It's alright, so I went to Uguna KFC. Where are you there? We'll go, catch up another go. Who is it? And they go, don't worry.
Pasquale Barbaro, a name that once echoed through the vibrant streets of Sydney, epitomized the clash between a flashy lifestyle and the brutal realities of organized crime. Renowned for his extravagant parties, luxury cars, and connections to the city's underworld, Barbaro's life seemed like a glamorous dream. In this video, we'll uncover the complexities of Pasquale Barbaro's life, exploring how his journey from the heights of luxury to the depths of brutality serves as a cautionary tale for those drawn to the seductive appeal of the criminal underworld. Pasquale Timothy Barbaro was born on February 6, 1981, into a world already steeped in crime. His father, Joe Barbaro, was a key figure in a notorious Calabrian crime family with deep roots in both Griffith and Melbourne, Australia. Recognizing the dangers posed by the family's criminal connections, Pascale's mother, Cheryl Gilroy, attempted to shield her son by relocating to Brisbane in 1983. However, despite her efforts to distance Pasquale from the nefarious influence of his father's side of the family, destiny had other plans. Pascale's eventual reconnection with his father at the age of 9 marked the beginning of a descent into a life defined by crime. Unlike other children, Pascale's lessons came from the dark corridors of organized crime. He quickly became immersed in the family's operations, learning the ins and outs of drug trafficking, extortion, and the rigid code of silence known as omerta. By his teenage years, Pasquale was already making appearances in court, facing a laundry list of charges that included burglary, armed robbery, and possession of heroin. Pascale's extended family also played a significant role in shaping his criminal career. His grandfather, Pasquale Pat Barbaro, and cousin, also named Pasquale Barbaro, were influential figures within Mafia circles, further entrenching him in the underworld. These family ties provided both a network of support and a set of expectations that would guide his actions for years to come. Despite the brief attempts at normalcy orchestrated by his mother, Pascale's life was irrevocably linked to the Barbaro family's illicit activities. This deep familial connection to crime not only facilitated his rise within the underworld, but also set the stage for the violent and tumultuous life that lay ahead. Pascale's criminal journey was deeply rooted in his family's connections to the 'Ndrangheta, one of Italy's most powerful and secretive organized crime syndicates. The Barbaro family, having migrated from Italy, brought with them a legacy of violence, secrecy, and criminal enterprise. This Mafia clan wasn't just another criminal group. They were a well-oiled machine with operations that spanned continents, dealing primarily in drug trafficking, extortion, and money laundering. Pascale's upbringing in this environment was far from typical. He grew up with an acute awareness of the power dynamics within the Mafia, learning from an early age that loyalty to the family was paramount, even if it meant crossing moral and legal boundaries. The family's notoriety reached its peak with several high-profile tragedies. Pascale's grandfather, Pasquale Peter Barbaro, was murdered in 1990, allegedly for turning police informant. Pascale's cousin, Pasquale Little Pat Barbaro, was gunned down alongside Jason Moran, a gangland figure, in 2003. These events were not just family tragedies. They were markers of the perilous life Pasquale was destined to lead. Pasquale Barbaro was not content to merely exist in the shadow of his notorious family. He sought to make a name for himself within the criminal underworld. His criminal record, extensive and varied, reflected a life dedicated to illegal activities. By the early 2000s, Pasquale had fully entrenched himself in the world of organized crime. One of his most significant early arrests came in October 2002, when he was implicated in a methamphetamine ring alongside his father. This operation, which involved the Australian Federal Police, AFP, and New South Wales Police, resulted in Pasquale receiving a 9-year prison sentence, with a minimum term of 6 years. Prison, however, did little to curb Pascale's criminal instincts. Instead, he used his time behind bars to strengthen his connections and plan his next moves. In 2006, while still incarcerated, he received an additional 5-year sentence for a 2001 armed robbery and related charges. His release in 2008 marked a brief return to freedom, but it wasn't long before he found himself in trouble again. In 2012, Pasquale was arrested for the production of methamphetamine at properties near Goulburn and Cowra. The authorities, recognizing the danger he posed, set his bail at a staggering $350,000. Despite the legal battles, Pasquale's reputation within the underworld continued to grow. He became known not just as a member of the Barbaro family, but as a formidable criminal in his own right. His association with the notorious Brothers for Life gang in 2013 further solidified his position. This gang, infamous for its violent enforcement tactics, provided Pasquale with new opportunities and alliances. His status within the gang was evident when he hosted a lavish party on Sydney Harbour, attended by some of the most feared figures in the Australian underworld. Just quickly, if you're enjoying this video so far, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It really helps me out and helps the channel grow. Pasquale Barbaro was not merely a criminal, he was a larger-than-life figure who thrived on attention and recognition. His flamboyant lifestyle was meticulously curated and showcased on social media, particularly Instagram, where he flaunted his wealth and status with a sense of bravado. His posts featured an array of luxury items, Lamborghinis, designer clothes, expensive watches, and exotic vacations, all carefully chosen to project an image of power and success. To Pasquale, these displays were more than just a show of affluence. They were declarations of his standing in the criminal underworld. However, the very persona that Pasquale cultivated also made him a magnet for danger. In the violent world he navigated, such ostentation was a double-edged sword. It drew the attention not only of law enforcement agencies, but also of rival criminals who saw him as both a threat and a prize. Pasquale's need to maintain his image in the public eye made him vulnerable to the inherent risks of his lifestyle. The peril of Pasquale's life became alarmingly clear in November 2015, when he narrowly escaped an assassination attempt near his home in Leichhardt. 6 shots were fired at him, a stark and brutal reminder of the life he led. The suspect in the attack, Hamad Assad, was no stranger to the criminal world. His involvement underscored the constant and lethal threats Pasquale faced from those within his own circles. Despite the gravity of the assassination attempt, Pasquale remained undeterred. He continued to live on the edge, fully aware that each day could be his last. The failed hit only served to heighten his paranoia. Yet, it did little to alter his lifestyle or his approach to the criminal world. Pasquale understood all too well that betrayal and violence were part and parcel of the life he had chosen. His survival depended on his ability to navigate these dangers with the same boldness that characterized his public persona. Pasquale's life was a precarious balancing act, one where the rewards of his criminal enterprises came hand in hand with the constant threat of death. His relentless pursuit of recognition and power in the underworld ensured that he was always in the crosshairs of both law enforcement and his rivals. Pasquale's story is a stark illustration of the dangers that accompany a life lived in pursuit of criminal notoriety. It is a world where the pursuit of power often leads to a violent and inevitable downfall, and Pasquale, with his flamboyant displays, was a prime example of this harsh reality. Pasquale Barbaro's life took an unexpected turn when he decided to follow in his grandfather's footsteps and cooperate with the police. This decision was a dangerous gamble, one that ultimately cost him his life. In the criminal underworld, becoming an informant is a death sentence, and Pasquale was fully aware of the risks. Yet, with the numerous enemies he had made and the increasing threat to his family, Pasquale saw little choice. One of his most notable adversaries was Hamad Assad, a fellow criminal with significant influence. The rivalry between Barbaro and Assad escalated over time, culminating in a violent assassination attempt on Barbaro in November 2015. Although Barbaro survived, the incident underscored the lethal nature of their feud. Barbaro also had contentious relationships with other figures within his own network. The pursuit of dominance and control over lucrative criminal operations led to internal strife, as associates and allies turned into adversaries. Betrayals and double-crossings were common, further complicating the web of enmities that surrounded him. These numerous rivalries and vendettas not only heightened the danger Barbaro faced, but also contributed to the volatile and treacherous environment in which he operated. His decision to cooperate did not go unnoticed. It wasn't long before word spread, and Pasquale's fate was sealed. On November 14, 2016, the inevitable happened. Pasquale was gunned down outside the Earlwood home of construction boss George Alex in what was a meticulously planned hit. The assassination was carried out with chilling precision by members of Abu Zar al-Sultani's crew, who had been waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Pasquale's final moments were brutal. As he sat in his Mercedes, an Audi Q7 pulled up alongside. Joshua Baines, seated in the back of the Audi, fired multiple shots into Pasquale's vehicle. Although Pasquale tried to escape, Sultani pursued him, firing several rounds into his body as he collapsed. The cold-blooded execution was a testament to the ruthlessness of Sultani's gang, who were determined to send a clear message to anyone who might consider crossing them. The aftermath of Pasquale's murder was swift. Within 2 weeks, police arrested Sultani and his crew, thanks to extensive surveillance operations, including the bugging of Sultani's Subaru WRX and his apartment. However, it wasn't until 3 years later that police decrypted emails on the gang's encrypted BlackBerry phones, which revealed the full extent of their crimes. The trials, held under strict suppression orders, finally lifted in December 2021, unveiling one of Sydney's most significant murder cases. Sultani, a former president of the Rebels Bankstown chapter, was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Justice Day Fagan labeled him a serial killer, and his associates received similarly severe sentences. The end of Sultani's reign brought some closure to the violent chapter of Sydney's underworld, but for those who knew Pasquale, it was a grim reminder of the high stakes in the criminal world. Pasquale Barbaro's death sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld, shaking the very foundations of organized crime networks, not only in Sydney, but also across broader regions. Barbaro was not just another figure in the criminal landscape. He was a central player with deep connections that spanned multiple illicit enterprises. His sudden and violent demise created an immediate and chaotic power vacuum, setting off a fierce and dangerous power struggle among the remaining factions. These rival groups, now unchecked by Barbaro's influence, began vying aggressively for control over the lucrative drug trafficking routes and other illegal operations that he had once overseen. The impact of Barbaro's death was felt swiftly within the underworld. The intricate balance of power that had been maintained through Barbaro's leadership was shattered, leading to a series of conflicts as various crime families and syndicates sought to assert their dominance. This struggle for control was not just about maintaining the flow of illegal profits. It was about survival in a world where power shifts could mean life or death. The ensuing chaos made the criminal landscape even more treacherous, as alliances were tested and betrayals became more frequent. This atmosphere of instability was a stark reminder of the volatile and often deadly nature of organized crime. Law enforcement agencies, recognizing the significance of Barbaro's death, quickly moved to exploit the disruption within the criminal network. They intensified their efforts, launching targeted operations designed to capitalize on the chaos. With the underworld in disarray, law enforcement found opportunities to infiltrate organizations that had previously been too fortified to penetrate. The increased police presence and strategic operations led to numerous arrests and seizures, putting unprecedented pressure on crime families and causing a temporary destabilization of their operations. These law enforcement actions were not just about dismantling criminal enterprises. They were also about sending a clear message to those who continued to operate within the underworld. Barbaro's assassination served as a grim warning to anyone involved in organized crime about the precarious and often short-lived nature of such a lifestyle. The reality that even a figure as powerful as Barbaro could be eliminated so abruptly and violently underscored the ruthlessness of the world in which these criminals operated. No amount of wealth, influence, or connections could guarantee safety in an environment where betrayal and violence were the currency of survival. The ripple effects of Barbaro's death continued to influence the dynamics of organized crime in the region. The power vacuum he left behind has reshaped the strategies and alliances of those who navigate the dangerous terrain of the criminal underworld. New leaders have emerged, but the memory of Barbaro's downfall serves as a constant reminder of the risks involved. The underworld, while always perilous, has become even more so in the wake of his death. with criminals now operating in an atmosphere of heightened fear and suspicion. In the end, Pasquale Barbaro's assassination did more than just remove a key player from the criminal landscape. It disrupted the entire structure of organized crime, leading to a period of turmoil and uncertainty that continues to reverberate. The lasting impact of his death highlights the fragile nature of power within the underworld and the ever-present threat of violence that looms over those who seek to control it. Pasquale Barbaro's life was a complex tapestry of crime, power, and betrayal. He was a man who lived by the sword and, ultimately, died by it. From his early days as a Mafia scion to his rise as a notorious figure in the Australian underworld, Pasquale's journey was marked by a relentless pursuit of power and recognition. His love for a flamboyant lifestyle, combined with his deep ties to organized crime, made him both a feared and envied figure. However, Pasquale's decision to turn police informant was a fatal miscalculation. In a world where loyalty is everything, betrayal is unforgivable. Pasquale's murder was not just an act of retribution, it was a final statement from the underworld, a reminder that in their world, there are no second chances. His death marked the end of an era for the Barbaro family and highlighted the perils of a life lived on the wrong side of the law. Pasquale's story serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the inescapable cycle of violence that defines the criminal underworld. His life and death underscore the broader societal issues that allow such criminal enterprises to flourish, and the importance of continued efforts to combat organized crime. In the end, Pasquale Barbaro's legacy is one of both infamy and tragedy, a life defined by choices that led inexorably to a violent end. Underscore the importance of continued efforts to combat organized crime. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of true crime and the stories behind the headlines. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. What do you think about Pasquale Barbaro's life and legacy? Let us know in the comments below. We've got more intriguing content coming your way, so stay tuned. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.